times that we have, had this war on drugs, but it's been here for a long time. It's really a recent event. The first law, the federal law passed against marijuana was in 1937. I guess they ran out of things to do after they got rid of prohibition of alcohol, so they had to police something. But once again, it's a decision that individuals should make. Does it mean that if we didn't have the FDA and all the protection the government gives us that we are going to put anything and everything in our mouth, do they really protect us? There would be private organization and common sense would help us. I have a bill that I've been surprised I've gotten so much attention. It seems rather simplistic, but I've introduced a bill that says it is your legal right to drink unpasteurized milk. And we should trust that freedom does work. Freedom does assume a lot of responsibility. It's so much better than trusting the politician. The big difference is, even if they're well-intentioned, and sometimes they're the worst kind, well-intentioned politicians and bureaucrats, they can make a mistake on occasion or two. And then when they do, or what if the Supreme Court ruling on one of these things make a mistake, they rule 5-4, and they do such things as they have over the many years, then it's for the whole country, for everybody. If you make a mistake, that's a problem, but it's a problem for you. If a state makes a mistake, it's at that particular state. So that's why the closer at home the decisions are made, the better. We in this country, 100 years ago or so, for some reason allowed the concept of freedom to be chopped into pieces. We come to the conclusion, unfortunately, that freedom is in two parts. One, there's economic freedom, and some people can defend that, and then there's also personal, social freedom, and others defend that. It's all in one. If you have a right to your life and a right to your liberty, you have a right to do with your life what you want. And you're with the responsibility that you can't hurt others, and you have to assume the responsibility if you injure yourself. But closely, it's exactly the same principle as you have the right to keep the fruits of your labor. That, too, is just as important as social freedom. Now, long-term, I'm an optimist. In the short run, I think we're in for some bad times. I think the bills will have to be paid. This debt will have to be taken care of. Yet, if we do the right thing, it can be solved rather quickly. If we prolong the agony, if we continue to prop up the bad investments and not allow this liquidation that is necessary, it's like taking care of the addict. You keep feeding the addict. You delay the onset of the severe symptoms with the removal, but eventually the patient dies if you keep feeding the addiction. And this is what we're doing today in Washington, D.C. We're continuing to spend. We're continuing to inflate. We're ballooning the debt. And we're allowed to expand our presence around the world with an immediate threat that this war may spread into Iran in the next few weeks or months, which is probably one of our most serious threats that we have. So we do all that, and it can be reversed very simply with a lot of common sense, but also only sending people to Washington who know and understand and you believe will follow the Constitution. Before the Great Depression, we had some ups and downs because of the manipulation of money and credit, and we did have panic and crashes and recessions, but usually it was a hands-off affair. In 1921, we had the first Federal Reserve caused depression. It was after the inflation for the war, World War I. So prices were going up, and there was malinvestment, there had to be some correction, and 1921 was a bad year. But it only lasted 1 year, because they had a hands-off approach, and all the bad debt and the misappropriations were all taken care of. But then we went back to inflating again. The Federal Reserve pumped up credit. They had these bubbles in the stock market bubble, and then there was the crash, and then the Depression came, and everything they did, from Hoover on down, they argued. Republicans, I was raised in a Republican family, and I was always told it was always the Democrats because Hoover couldn't get anything done. And then, you know, because they resisted. But the whole thing is all the Hoover policies propped up, you know, bad debt, wouldn't allow the correction to come. And then he did have a little difficulty in passing some of those statist-type bills, but then Roosevelt came in and did it. And what happened in the Depression? It lasted all the way until the end of World War II because we didn't allow this correction to happen. So my argument is, yes, that's under there. There's excessive debt. Prices have to come down. You say, well, would you let the prices of houses come down? Sure. If people took their risk and they lost it, they didn't put any money down. So what was their big risk? They just wanted to run it up and make a, you know, a killing on their houses, and then they borrowed against it. So yes, the prices should come down. What does that mean? If you happen to be frugal and you have to save some money, maybe some poor people can buy up some houses again. That's the way to work. But if we did the right thing, this could be solved rather quickly. We look like we're going to continue to do the wrong thing, which means that we're going to have some serious problems because we're going to keep printing the money. The standard of living is going to continue to go down. Middle class is going to get poorer. People on Social Security benefits are going to have a much tougher time. And then the decision will be made by the next generation, once again, in the midst of a crisis, what kind of government do you want? And the question is what should the role of government be? And the role of government, very simply, in a free society, is to protect liberty. We need the faith and confidence that built this country, realizing that it would not be that difficult. We have our traditions. It's not like we live in a country that doesn't know what the right thing is to do, and we don't even have to write a new set of rules. All we have to do is pay attention and follow the Constitution. Thank you very much.